Daniel had just been fired from his job as a gardener, accused of theft. As he relived the moment, questioning whether he should have revealed the whole truth, the lady of the mansion caught up with him and asked a crucial question. Daniel's answer, however, made her break down in tears. "Hello, my friends. I am Linda, and this is Linda's Love Stories. I hope you enjoy this story." Daniel was a simple man in his 40s who had just landed a job as a gardener at an imposing mansion. On the first day, he arrived early, eager to start his new job. While tending to the roses in the front garden, he noticed an elegant woman leaving the house. She appeared to be around 40 years old, with long brown hair and a beautiful face, but she carried a melancholic expression. In the following days, Daniel became familiar with the mansion's routine. He discreetly observed the residents and staff, trying to understand the dynamics of the place. One day, while pruning the shrubs, he overheard two employees talking. "Poor Mrs. Megan, it's not easy raising Zachary alone after her husband abandoned her," said one of the maids. "Well, it's been a year since he left with that younger woman. The boy was outraged," the other replied. Daniel was intrigued by that story. He continued his work, but now he paid more attention to the lady of the house, Megan, and her son Zachary, a 13-year-old teenager who used to skate around the yard with a sullen face. A few weeks went by, and Daniel was already well adjusted to the job. One sunny afternoon, while watering the flowers, Megan approached him for the first time. "Hello, you must be the new gardener," she said with a shy smile. "Yes, ma'am. My name is Daniel. Nice to meet you," he replied politely. "The flowers look beautiful, Daniel. You've done a great job," praised Megan. "Thank you, ma'am. I love taking care of plants. They respond well to care," said Daniel. That casual conversation about the garden was the beginning of a friendship. In the following days, Megan began to take walks in the garden in the late afternoon, always stopping to chat with Daniel. At first, they only talked about the plants and the weather, but gradually the topics became more personal. "You know, Daniel, sometimes I feel suffocated in this enormous mansion," Megan confided one afternoon. "I understand, ma'am. Sometimes large places can make us feel small," he replied wisely. As the weeks went by, Megan and Daniel grew closer and closer. She felt comfortable sharing her thoughts with the kind gardener. One afternoon, sitting on a bench in the garden, Megan opened her heart. "Daniel, I need to tell you something. Before I got married, I lived on a farm. My family raised goats and we produced artisanal cheeses. It was a simple life. But I was happy," she said, her eyes shining with nostalgia. "It must have been a wonderful experience, ma'am," commented Daniel. "It was there that I met Zachary's father. He was a wealthy businessman interested in buying our property. We fell in love, and I ended up moving here after the wedding," continued Megan. "But you know, Daniel, I never fully got used to this life. I always dreamed of going back to the countryside." Daniel listened attentively, feeling an ever-growing connection with Megan. He gently touched her hand, a comforting gesture. They exchanged a knowing glance but soon pulled away, a little embarrassed. "You should chase that dream, ma'am," said Daniel encouragingly. "It's never too late to start over." Megan smiled, grateful for the support. She also shared her concern about Zachary. "I'm worried about my son. He's been hanging out with some suspicious people. I think a change of environment could do him good." Daniel had already noticed Zachary's rebellious behaviour. Several times he saw the boy climbing over the back wall to sneak out. Whenever he could, Daniel tried to advise the teenager. "Zachary, you have a great opportunity here. Don't waste your future by being rebellious," he would say. The boy even sympathised with Daniel, but he continued with his problematic behaviours. As time went by, Daniel realised he was falling in love with Megan. Her sweetness, combined with that melancholy, enchanted him more each day. But he knew he needed to maintain the appropriate distance between an employee and his employer. On an autumn afternoon, when the sun was already setting on the horizon, Daniel was getting ready to leave after his shift. It was then that he saw Zachary jumping over the back wall as usual. But this time, something fell out of the boy's pocket. a small box. Daniel approached and picked up the object. It was a jewellery box, full of rings and bracelets that he recognised as Megan's. Zachary, realising he had lost the box, jumped back onto the property. "Daniel, give me back that jewellery box," demanded the teenager. "Don't do this, Zachary. Your mother doesn't deserve this heartbreak," replied Daniel, holding the box tightly. "Look, Daniel, I like you, you're cool. But this is none of your business," said Zachary, trying to justify himself. "My mum hasn't been giving me money to go out with my friends. I had to find a way." Daniel refused to return the jewellery box. It was then that Zachary did something unexpected and cruel. He started screaming, attracting the attention of everyone in the house. Within minutes, the other staff and Megan herself came running. "Mum, I saw Daniel trying to escape with your jewellery," accused Zachary, pointing at the gardener. Everyone was shocked. Daniel, caught off guard, didn't know how to defend himself without accusing Zachary and hurting Megan even more. The woman looked at Daniel with teary eyes, clearly not believing the accusation, but pressured by the situation. "Daniel, please pack your things and leave," said Megan with a choked voice. With a broken heart, Daniel left the mansion. He had barely arrived at his house when he heard the sound of a car approaching. It was Megan. She stopped beside him with red eyes and got straight to the point. "Daniel, tell me the truth. It was Zachary, wasn't it?" Reluctant but unable to lie to Megan, Daniel told the entire truth. Upon hearing the account, Megan lost her strength and fell into Daniel's arms, sobbing uncontrollably. "What did I do wrong in raising Zachary?" she asked between sobs. Daniel held her tightly, consoling her. There, on the sidewalk of a quiet street, the two shared a moment of profound connection. Daniel stroked Megan's hair, feeling his heart race with the closeness. "Megan, you didn't do anything wrong," he said softly. "Sometimes circumstances lead us down difficult paths, but there's still time to change." She looked up, meeting Daniel's gentle eyes. "How?" she asked, almost in a whisper. "Remember your dream of going back to the countryside? Maybe it's time to make it come true. Take Zachary to a simpler life, away from the temptations of the city," Daniel suggested. Megan was thoughtful for a moment, then a glimmer of hope appeared in her eyes. "But I don't know if I can do this alone," she confessed. Daniel held her hands firmly. "You are not alone, Megan. I will be with you if you want." In that moment, something changed between them. They were no longer employer and employee, but two people who cared deeply about each other. In the following weeks, Megan made a courageous decision. She sold the mansion and bought a small rural property. It was a modest farm with a small herd of goats and a structure for producing artisanal cheeses. The change was a shock to Zachary at first. The rebellious teenager, used to the comfort of the city, had difficulty adapting. But gradually, the daily work with the animals and the contact with nature began to transform him. Daniel, keeping his promise, moved closer to Megan's new property. Every day he went there to help with the farm work. Together they took care of the goats, produced cheeses and planned the business's future. As months went by, the love between Megan and Daniel naturally blossomed. It was no longer a relationship between employer and employee, but a partnership based on mutual respect and genuine affection. Zachary, seeing his mother's happiness and Daniel's positive influence, began to change his behaviour. A year after the move, Megan's small farm was already known in the region for its delicious goat cheeses. Zachary, now 14 years old, had become a responsible and dedicated teenager, helping with the property's work enthusiastically. One sunny afternoon, as Megan and Daniel watched the sunset while sitting on the porch of the simple house, she turned to him with a radiant smile. "Daniel, you were right. Sometimes we need a simpler life to find our true essence." He smiled back, holding her hand lovingly. "And sometimes we need to lose something to find something much better," he replied, looking into her eyes. At that moment, With the sound of goats in the background and the smell of fresh cheese in the air, Megan felt that she had finally found her place in the world. Next to Daniel, and with Zachary happy and healthy, she realized that true wealth was not in the mansion she had left behind, but in the simple and love-filled life she now lived. The story of Megan, Daniel and Zachary is a reminder that sometimes it takes courage to leave behind comfort and seek true happiness. That simplicity can heal deep wounds, and that love, when true, has the power to transform entire lives. And so on that small farm, a new family was formed. Megan, once a prisoner of a life that did not fulfill her, was now free to be who she always wanted to be. Daniel, the gardener who had planted the seeds of change, now reaped the fruits of a mature and true love. And Zachary, the rebellious teenager, had found his path, learning the value of honest work and the connection with nature. Together they proved that it is never too late to start over, that the mistakes of the past can be overcome, and that sometimes a true home is not a place, but the people with whom we choose to share our journey. If you enjoyed, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment with a number from 1 to 5 to let us know how much you liked the story. Also, watch the video that is currently on your screen. See you soon.